Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the authorities for federal forces for inviting me to participate in this event. I also want to thank all the members of the force for risking their life, day by day, to take care of the Argentines. Unfortunately, for years, politics got used to belittling order forces. What happened with this act, in its last editions, is a symbol of that disdain, because, several years ago, the presidential investiture was disregarded by the duty to deliver the sabers to the commissioners, commanders and prefects promoted. We come to resume this noble tradition, and I mean that it is an honor for me to be accompanying them in this recognition. To each of you, you have demonstrated, with honor and courage, to live up to the circumstances that times demanded, and the whole country paid their behavior in this act. Thank you very much for taking care of us, as they do, and I wish you success in your new functions in the coming years. It is precisely in the coming years of what I would like to talk now. For many years, in this country, we tried to turn the lens with which we observe reality. Through nefarious theoretical juggles, politics tried to put the perpetrators in the place of the victims and the victims in the place of the perpetrators. In the midst of this ridiculous argumentative bid, our security forces were helpless by a state that got tired of none. The ninguneo was such that it even reached the absurdity of releasing prisoners or punishing honorable police for the unforgivable crime of doing their work well. They made up an unscrupulous abolitionism, under the name of guarantee, but the only thing they guaranteed was the perpetuity of the crime, and everything is worth. We come to turn the helm, in 180 degrees. For us, the monopoly of the force and repression of crime is a public and indelible responsibility, because the state must guarantee the protection of the life, property and freedom of citizens. And to be able to comply with this primary mission, our administration, 3 fundamental pillars have been embraced, which I want to remember. Pilar number 1: who makes them pays them. That is, the crime must be punished at all times and everywhere. Within the law everything, outside the law nothing. Pilar number 2: public order is sacred. The street belongs to everyone. They cannot be kidnapped by a handful of misfits to have all Argentines hostage. Since December 10th, the one who cuts does not charge, and, consequently, the pickets were finished. Pilar number 3: the good ones are those of blue. The bad ones are the criminals. In other words, the state has to protect the victims and punish the perpetrators. Do not protect the perpetrators and abandon the victims. It is those same pillars that have managed to civilize barbarism throughout history. And it is these same pillars that are already bringing us positive results. In this first year of our management, under the brilliant conduction of Dr. Bullrich, for whom I ask, please, a strong applause. As I said, we have completely eradicated the pickets of our society, which a year ago seemed impossible, and we did it, the first month of having assumed. In addition, we are putting to work in prisoners from all over the country, with the aim of returning, in some way, the damage which caused our society, and also to really understand the effort they snatch in each crime they commit. We get the cell phones in all national prisons. The "Long live the Pepa" is over to continue doing their business from federal prisons. We have managed to control the crime and drastically reduce the murders in Rosario, a city that, even very little, was co-opted by drug trafficking. And since we talk about the prisoners, I want to give them a small scoop. In recent weeks, several cases of criminals were known that, using the gender identity law, they intended to argue that, in reality, they were women who should be in a women's prison, either to take advantage of women inmates or to continue with the negotiated, from more lax conditions. Only, last week, it was learned that the head of the Los Manos band asked 10 habeas corpus to change gender and be able to receive visits from men. Only in a country whose values have been deeply disrupted can allow such barbarity. Therefore, with us, this stupidity ends. We are going to prohibit it, because criminals will not be able to request a criminal change under the umbrella of gender identity. And we are going to promote an initiative for provincial prison systems to adhere Those who do not adhere to this new regulation, the only thing they will be doing is rewarding the creativity of criminals and lacking respect, the victims of crime. Finally, the mission of this government is to establish bases that are lasting to restore the greatness of our nation, in security and in the other orders of life as well. Because we understand that the day will come when we are not a government and it will touch others to continue our legacy. For example, you, the security force authorities, will have to sustain the pillars that claim the social role of the forces of the order. That is, that you will be the true protagonists of this paradigm shift. So I want to leave two final slogans that, for me, are true immutable truths. The first is that public security is indispensable for the growth of our country. The second is that it is the laws that separate men from the beasts, and the laws are to be fulfilled. A year ago we decided to tell the barbaric guarantee, which only brings misery, to say yes to the civic order, which guarantees growth. And we are going to support our security forces as many times as necessary, so that they can do their work in the best possible way. Because, if there is a function, and only one, that the rule of law must fulfill, it is to guarantee the life, freedom and property of our citizens. And there is no guarantee of those rights without exemplary citizens who are delivered to the service for the homeland, as those that integrate our security forces. Therefore, I want to congratulate each of you for this promotion. Thank you very much for your enormous service, and that the strength of the sky accompany us. And long live freedom, damn it.